Danganronpa, a franchise that I never thought I was gonna get into until I started watching other Danganronpa Plush videos. I was really impressed by them, and as you could tell, I already did 2 of my Danganronpa Plush series, which they're still in progress, but some of them are just gonna be in a hiatus for certain reasons. Anyways, so with that being said, there's a lot of Danganronpa Plush series I've been watching for the past few, past 2 years now, and I actually do want to say which ones do I like more and which ones do I like the least. I've been rewatching most of my Danganronpa Plush videos I usually firstly liked, and I decided, fuck it, I'll just make a top 10 favorites, because I've seen my friend did it in the past, though that video is no longer there anymore, so that's kind of sad. But at the same time, they say that they might make another list, which it's not confirmed, but I'm still pretty excited for it. So I just decided, I'll do mine first if I manage to get this in time. So yeah, this is my top 10 favorite Danganronpa Plush series of all time. But before we actually start the list, I do actually want to say some rules before we start this list off, because I don't want critics to go after me after saying my opinions, be like, oh, this series is bad, why did you put it on the list? Well, I'll just straight up say the entire rules of what I'm trying to do with this list, so then all of you can understand why I put each thing on the list. So, here are the rules. Now this top 10 has pretty basic rules, but I think I'll add some more just to be sure. So the first rule is, well, obviously this entire list is my own opinion, and if you don't like any of the series that will be put on the list, then that's completely fine. You don't need to like them. I'm just stating my opinion. And the obvious second rule is that my Danganronpa Plush series will not be in the list, because then that would personally mean I'm just using personal bias at that point. But I will add some extra rules into this list just to be sure if any of the confusion could possibly be affected in your little brains. The third rule is something that went from my original friend's video that's no longer on YouTube. You see, he put in all the Danganronpa Plush series that have 100 or more subscribers from their YouTube channels. With me, that will seem occur unless if there's an exception. If there's an exception that there's a series that I actually like that has less actually have less than 100 subscribers, then I will add them in if their series is good, which spoiler alert, there is. And that's because whether this series is still in progress, it finished, or it got canceled, what I'll be factoring into these lists, or these series that I'll be putting on this list, is basically the performance of the characters, the killings, the stories, the motives, etc. Also, this list won't actually have a script, because I was never, and I never will be, a fan of running a script, because I think it just drags. The only script I made in this list is the places of where each series is going to be in, so let me let you know that. The last rule of this list is that this entire list is going to be full of spoiler warnings. So if you don't want to actually be spoiled on what's going on in some of these series, then I would recommend you not watching this video. So click off the video now and just check out the links in the description where all the channels Danganronpa Plush series will be. So with that, all those rules set in mind, let's begin this roller coaster of despair. When it comes to Danganronpa Plush, the first person that caught people's ears would be possibly the Miraikyu Lover TML, or Kiru for short. This guy has been known to make so many Danganronpa Plush series, but if I'm gonna be honest, most of them are just dog shit. Okay, but joking aside, he actually has made most of his series actually not that good and not that enjoyable, mainly for a few I would like to say a bit real quick. What kills Kiru's record of being a good Danganronpa Plush tuber is the fact that he's been kind of lazy and a bit too copycatty with his recent Danganronpa Plush series. For example, The Endless Killing. This series would actually be on the list if it only allowed me to focus on characters, because I really like some of these characters, like Eltonio, Drybones, Blue Toad, and Koopa the Quick. But what made Endless Killing accidentally step on the minefield is the fact that its story writing is just not really good at all. It's mostly unoriginal, and on top of that, he copied one of my friends, which is kind of unacceptable to me. He also did some other Danganronpa series afterwards, like Blind Lockdown, which was fine, predictable, but fine. Then there is United Despair, which is kind of mediocre. And last but not least, Slaughter Bloodbath. Despite how much I love Karen in this series, this entire series in general was a recipe for disaster. Now I will say his Despair restoration is fine so far, but that doesn't really say much. So yeah. Now you're probably wondering, why am I shit talking about Kiryu's videos when this is a favorite list? Well, that's because I want to say that his recent Danganronpa series are not good. The old ones? They were pretty good. I actually like them. But out of all of them, Drop Dead Daylight was the most superior series Miraikyu Lover has ever did. This is the biggest time where I actually think Kiryu was being at least a bit original, or at least tried to be a bit original. Though some chapters are the same, they don't really match the same problems that Kiryu has in his recent videos. Like, I actually like some of the story when it's a little bit original, and they actually prove in some work. On top of that, I really like the characters. The characters are very well written in this one, and I actually really enjoy some of them and their plots and reasons. Motives and Death Order are good, the kills are pretty cool, and the story is okay. Shy Guy him being the mastermind, which is one of the spoilers, I don't really like that idea. It's not the best idea I've heard, but it's okay, I guess. But why is Drop Dead Daylight at number 10 then? Well, Kiryu's series, Drop Dead Daylight, kind of suffers the fate that some Danganronpa series might have on this list, and that is that I just prefer other video series than this one. But that doesn't mean I hate Drop Dead Daylight. In fact, I actually really like it because it's actually somewhat original. And the comedy that Kiryu is mostly known for is actually pretty creative and actually funny. However, what lacks it in here is the fact that this is old Kiryu, where he was usually good, but now he just kind of dropped badly. But still, love this series, and I wish I could see something like this again. Though the Miraikyu Lover TML's only good series is his third series in the entire of his channel, I'll give him credit about this. He somehow actually made his brother's Danganronpa Plush series look better than his newest shit. I am not joking, and nor do I'm afraid to say it, that Danganronpa Productions, aka the Miraikyu Lover's brother's Danganronpa Plush series, though cancelled, is still better than any of the newest things Kiryu has ever done. First of all, the story is a bit fast-paced, but it's still effective because of it. Then, there's the cast. Though not the most versatile cast in the world, it's still pretty good. And the cases were really, really good. On top of that, since it's only at 3 chapters and they didn't really give us like the entire thing of who actually survived in the end, I will just focus on the 3 chapters and what we got. So the cases from all these chapters were really good. I liked every single one of them. One of my personal favorites is easily the first case of victim being Peach and Buzz Lightyear being the killer. Making the culprit accidentally misspell Deerling's name was just downright brilliant. And the use of the motive, aka the mono skill, was a very, very smart idea. Overall, I just really like what we got from Chapter 1. As for the rest of the chapters, Chapter 2 case was pretty fine in my opinion, and the third one didn't even exist because we only stopped at the 2 victims. But that's all I can say about it. So, from the experience that I had in the series, I actually like it more than Kiryu's recent shit. Now, I would actually put this on the list if this was in a completely different timeline. You see, if this came out during what time when Kiryu was good, Kiryu would definitely outbeat it by a bit. But since this is uploaded when Kiryu's shit was coming bad, yeah. The only downside I have with this series is that basically he had to use his brother to help him out with video editing. I mean, it's not that bad. It's like not the worst thing in the world. I don't really find it as the biggest negative in the world. It's like a microscope small negative, but it's still just something that I just can't get my mind off of. But overall, I actually really like this series. Like, it's very interesting. It gives it like a very new kind of thing to look at, and would I recommend it to you guys? Probably not, but I still like this one, and I really wish if he ever feels like remaking the series, I would always be welcome for it. I was really surprised when I saw YNT Productions' Danganronpa Plush series. Shrouded Secrets is actually very, very good. But before I get into the full detail why I love this series so much, or at least at the number 8 on the list, let me tell you one of my personal favorites this series has ever done. Usually Danganronpa Plush videos usually focus on giving it a bit of that video game aesthetic as its original counterpart. What YNT Productions did, they bitch slapped that predictable looping formula out of his Danganronpa Plush series and gave it a bit more of an Danganronpa anime aesthetic, which fits so fucking well because I actually kind of like how they did it. It feels kind of awkward when you look at it, but when you only know about the Danganronpa anime, you would definitely understand what he was trying for, and that's something I really have to respect the guy with. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the main stuff. Characters, pretty good. Really like how they were added into it, and I like the original characters like Princess Plum. I like the stories, the motives, and the death order that we have so far. And the trials aren't too bad, but I can see what my friend back then used to have a problem with. But they're not that bad in my personal opinion. The only reason why he's at the number 8 on the list is kind of like what Kiryu had to go through in this one. The fact that this series is pretty good and I love it, but there are series that I prefer over this one. But that doesn't mean, that doesn't mean I don't like YNT Productions' Shrouded Secrets. No, Shrouded Secrets is pretty fucking good. But especially with those adding Japanese letters onto it to give it a bit more of a better touch on it. But it's just the series that I would just watch time to time, but not a lot. So yeah, that's why the series is at number 8 on the list. Still love the series though. So, Matt the Plumber. Yeah, his Danganronpa Plush is alright. I will admit that the first 2 episodes weren't anything really special, but after that, everything went so much better afterwards. When it comes to the deaths, the investigation, and the story in general. Also, Lightning McQueen being the headmaster is just downright great. In my opinion, the trial was easily the best thing about this entire series. I'm not saying everything else was bad. No, I never said that. It's just I prefer the trials over most of the stuff, even though I actually really like the characters. So why did I put it this low on the list? Well, it's probably because it kind of is YNT production, but reverse psychology in my opinion. I'm not saying he copied YNT Productions. I'm saying, in my personal opinion, that it's kind of like YNT Productions, but in reverse. Where I like the trials, and though I like the characters, not by much though. But yeah, I still like Matt the Plumber series, and I really appreciate all the work that he has done. Man, I wish these two would just come back. Alright, time to get my first personal biased opinion out of the way. I really like Mario Bros. J's Danganronpa Plush 99. I really love this series, but not by much, as you can see on the list. But before I get to explaining all that, allow me to basically tell the other basic stuff, like why do I love this series so much. First off, most of the characters are really enjoyable and kind of likable, and another one I really like is the fact that Monokuma and Metal Mario are working together. Now, the reason that's pretty cool is because that Metal Mario was the headmaster in his old killing game called Danganronpa Roll or Die, which is pretty cool because, you know, having a reference to the old killing game and Monokuma working with that headmaster. Pretty cool idea. I really enjoy it. And can I please talk about the first death? Not only that this was sad because I really like Toad and Blue Toad just died, but the entire killing was just pretty amazing. I love this case so far. And there's a lot more I would say, but then it will make me sound like a fanboy. But now you're probably wondering, if I really like this series so much, why is it number 6 on the list? Well, it's simple. It's because the only thing we got from this entire killing game is daily life, 2 daily lives, and a investigation. The trial didn't came out yet, which I don't really blame Mario Bros. J for it. But if the trial came out like as I was recording this, and if it was good, this series would probably be at the top 5. Maybe even top 3 if it would be lucky. But in the end, I just really can't put it higher because even though I love this series and what it did so far, it doesn't really show much. But I was in a call with the creator, aka Mario Bros. J, and they confirmed that that they're going to work on it soon if they think about a script with their friend. Now, would I recommend this? I would definitely would, but that's all up to you. You can go watch the series if you want, but overall, I really like Mario Bros. J, and if they ever do the trial, record trial at some point, I'll wish them the best of luck. Also, Red Yoshi, my senpai, noticed! Alright, so we're at the top 5, and we're gonna have some famous people around here. So who are we gonna start with? Let's start off with Plush Things, Danganronpa Plush, Manor Havoc. Now, can I say, I actually really like some details they added into this so they can prove that they actually somewhat try when it comes to his Danganronpa Plush series with this one. Here's what I mean. With most of the important stuff, he actually follows the plush formula by making, for example, chapter title cards plush and some stuff for the trial plushified, which is pretty cool. It really shows Plush Things' creativity, and I really love it. And on top of that, the characters are pretty likable, and the stories were written really well. The death order is very nice, and that's all I can say about it. And now on to the downsides, which is, there's only one downside I have with this series. And I know some of you might be a little bit sad about this mess, but I just can't deny it. My downside with this is Mono Bowser. Now, Mono Bowser as a character is not bad at all, but my downside with it is that literally 85% of the time, I cannot even understand what this man is saying. No offense, but it just makes it sound like he's saying... Okay, you get the picture. Anyways, this series... But overall, with that one stupid negative aside, I still love this series, and I do find it still outstanding comparing it to his other Danganronpa plush that came out recently. Also, can I just say, Chapter 4 made me sad, not only because it was pretty good, but it's also because there was an idea that I was going to do first, which I planned first, but then it came out before me. So yeah, that kind of sucks. For the 4th slot on the list, I was normally going to add 2 fangans on this list. However, I decided not to do it, mainly because it kind of overfills my storage on my phone. So with that being said, I will only focus on one fangan that I like the most. And out of 24/7 plushes, Danganronpa Killing Time and Main Rampa, I have to go with Main Rampa. Now, I like both of the series, but what lacks Killing Time from getting onto this list is the lack of, how do I say this, a lack of versatility in characters. Main Rampa sure has a few characters from the same franchise, but because the cast is pretty big, there is more characters that could be from other franchises, which is what I kind of prefer in some of these plush series. Versatility in cast, in my opinion, is the most important thing in Danganronpa plushes for a main reason. Danganronpa was always known that 16 strangers would basically be stuck in a killing game, and a reminder, most of them are strangers, meaning they don't know each other. So no, having a lot of multiverse characters is a very good idea because nobody would know each other, and that's what I kind of trying to do for my Danganronpa series that would possibly arrive soon if my series does well. Now, as for the other stuff, like the characters are very enjoyable. They can be very interesting, and most of them are pretty funny. Like Freddy, for example. That guy is fucking hilarious, and it's totally not because they mentioned my name. I also really like how they actually added the mono kids on this one, because it seems like a very interesting case to bring them back. Yeah, so that's all I can say. There's no issues I can look at. Well, except for the fact that it got canceled really early and we didn't get to see deaths. But the reason it's higher than Mario Bros. J at this point is actually because, well, he actually told me what was the death order. So I basically know what happens. I'm not gonna say it, of course, but I will say that. I'm sorry if I did something wrong. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about 247's main Rampa. It really impressed me. I really liked it. And wait, Kirby, why are you looking at? Oh my god, not another of my idea! Alright, now we're at the top 3, aka the best of the best. So which ones I think are good? Well, before I get into that, I actually want to apologize to somebody. I'm sorry, Mario and Luigi Studios, but back then, I used to think you were in my opinion, my least favorite series of all time. But I really judged you by your cover. I actually want to talk about that, what I just said. The reason back then I thought Mario and Luigi Studios was my least favorite is because it has a lot of comedy into it. Now, I know comedy isn't that bad, but back then, I thought Danganronpa Plush series were supposed to be, you know, serious and everything. Now that I look at it, I feel like my opinion back then was stupid. I really love the comedic moments. They're pretty hilarious. And I really like this entire killing game as it is. And it really shows with all the investigations, the story writing, the character development, and most importantly, the trial and their scrum debates and other minigames. I really like them. They're all pretty creative. They all have their little ways to make them good, and that's what I really like. Also, the killers are pretty good and have their little motives of theirs. And yeah, I like the death order as well. It's very nice, and I really like the survivors. And not to mention, the best thing in my opinion is easily the mastermind. Am I really gonna make a joke of this? Yes, I am. I am so glad you're the mastermind, Waluigi. Ever since those memes of Smash Beat was born, you were literally the spawn of my Satan, and I hated you ever since. I'm glad that happened to you. And okay, but joking aside, I really like Waluigi's the mastermind, not because of my personal bias over Waluigi, but because how the story actually really works in a way with it. But yeah, Mario Luigi Studios, pretty good series. So why is it third place? Why is it going to the third place bunker? Well, that's kind of simple. Though everything I said at that shows how much I like them, there is some problems I have with some executions. Now, before you say anything, let me cut you off and say that I don't think all the executions are bad. No, I don't think any executions are bad. All of them are good, but I mostly really enjoyed Donkey Kong and Bowser Jr.'s execution. But then there's Kamek and Peach, where I still love their execution, but while I'm watching them, I'm just like, okay, so what does this have to do with the character? But beside that one flaw, this series is a very good S tier. But not that much to me, because there is 2 more that outbeat it. Now we're at the second silver medal, which belongs to BMG Plush World's Danganronpa Plush Murderous Mayhem. Let me tell you, this Danganronpa Plush series is fantastic. The story so far is pretty good, and the characters have their own like plots and the reasonings to be in a killing game, which is always a unique touch. And I really like the idea of the past survivors being Monokuma's slaves. It's something new, and I pretty much like it. But what I think makes BMG series mostly recognizable is something that no Danganronpa series ever did, well, from what I've seen. And that is the animation. Because the animation is pretty good, and I just pretty much really like it. It's not the best animation, but it's not the worst either. So with that kind of series, you would probably think that this series would be the best, right? Right? No, that's not true at all. What makes BMG's Plush series lack down to be the best Danganronpa Plush series is the fact that I feel like though animation is really good, I feel like it's sometimes kind of wonky in some kind of times. And as for the other thing I really didn't like that dragged it down is sometimes the editing. Because the editing can sometimes go through a very weird pattern, and some lines were voiced through the other line, making it impossible to understand what the person's trying to say. Just look at the Chapter 2 trial before voting. But beside those issues, this series is still good and very valuable to be on number 2. But there's one Danganronpa Plush series that, in my opinion, outbeats every single one on this list. So here we are, the number 1 spot. Now, if you're my friend, you would definitely know who's gonna be the number 1 on this list. And you know what? I'm not even afraid to show it. The best Danganronpa Plush series, in my personal opinion, is no doubt, no contest, Blueberry Bomb Bombastic Adventures, Danganronpa Plush, Undying Despair. Now, I wouldn't even call this the best Danganronpa Plush series. No, I would call this an underrated masterpiece, and let me tell you why. Before I do that though, I will admit the first 2 episodes don't start that well because they only use one piece of music, but I can give them a break because at the time they weren't the greatest when it comes to video editing. But if you pass the first 2 episodes, then congratulations, you're going to see the best series in your fucking life. With a story that would really intrigue you into this world, the characters, arcs and interactions, and most importantly, the pacing and the death order, which will actually kind of make you sad. And to you people who actually seen this series but you actually forgot the name, let me remind you, this was the OG Danganronpa where Dark Bowser was the headmaster. This was the OG one, not Plush Things. This is the first time we've ever seen Dark Bowser as the headmaster. And I prefer it here than Plush Things, because for once I can actually understand what this man is saying. Okay, I think I should just stop shit talking about Plush Things. Also, Izuku being the protagonist is just perfect. You can't change my mind. My friend's issue with this series is that it has way too many characters, where, in my personal opinion, I don't find it as an issue. I feel like it would be an issue if characters didn't have anything going for them. But so far, characters like Iggy, Waluigi, or Araka, they all have their own purposes. Not sure about Kaede, but I think I can give her a pass. And can I please talk about my favorite character of this entire series, the mastermind of the killing game, the ultimate cowboy, Bandit. I swear to God, I have never liked a mastermind more than this one in my entire life. This is what I like to call a very good headmaster writing. With him improving as a human being after revealing he was the mastermind and getting attached to more players like Koopa. And the fact that this also is another version of the killing a member of Dark, this one really succeeded at their time, and they did very good with it, and that's just what I love about it so much. So yeah, I really love everything about this, and that's why I think this is an underrated masterpiece. With a very beautiful story, wonderful character arc, and fantastic death order. Deaths and executions and the cases all of them are just really, really good. It's such a shame, too, that this series was in the end canceled due to the refreshing of the channel. Like, that actually made me sad, because this series, if it was finished, I would have proved my point that this was a masterpiece. But in the end, it's the creator's choice, and I can't stop them. But yeah, that just goes to show you how much I love this series. So, I'll say it already, and I'll say it again. This series, Undying Despair, is hands down, no contest, the best Danganronpa plush series of all time. In my opinion, that is. So yeah, that's it. That's top 10 favorite Danganronpa plush series. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll maybe do more videos like this if you want me to. And that's pretty much all I have to say, so now I'm gonna get into my little announcement. By the time the video is premiering, I will be going on a little vacation with my family to calm down and enjoy ourselves. So if I don't make any videos during the time, it's probably because I just want to enjoy myself, enjoy my break. But I will try my best to do more videos for you guys. And I feel like the first one that'll be in my list is Total Drama Revenge of Plush Island, and then maybe Danganronpa Curse of Despair if I manage to get the time. Since we're going on exactly the July 13th, which is not that far. And yeah, that's pretty much everything else I can say. So with that being said, I will see you guys at some point again. See ya. Okay, seriously, how many times I said Danganronpa in this fucking video?